Welcome, CommanderSmiths.
We're the CommanderSmiths.
I'm Adam Smith.
I'm Lowery Smith.
Don't worry.
We're cousins.
We're cousins. Episode 198. And what are we doing today, Lowery? I don't know why I did it.
Are you okay?
I'm a half a whiskey drink in, so that's where I'm at right now.
Woo! Okay, so what is planned? Or a main segment? Okay, we're going to do Stump the Smith. And we're going to do Staple Versus. And I'm kind of excited for this one, for Staple Versus. Crucible of Worlds versus, and Crucible of Worlds is yours.
Me.
And I am going to champion Life from the Loam.
The funny thing is,
comparison.
The biggest thing is, I haven't played with Life from the Loam. So I was like, I choose Crucible Worlds because I don't know how, I've seen it played. So that's why I went that route. So
we'll see how this goes.
Yeah. It's going to be a winging it. But what's our main segment? What are we doing? Is it something with white, right?
Is white good now?
Holy mother forking shirt balls.
I love this button so much.
New to the arsenal. I think that's going to be good.
Say what? So yeah, we're actually we're going over white, and because we kind of noticed, we talked about it a couple weeks ago, where like every freaking top 10 we've been doing lately seems like white is in the top like 1 to 3.
We're definitely on the white hype train.
Yep.
And
so we're gonna kind of break it down a little bit.
Does it have enough help now
that we can actually take it off the bottom and move it to another placing?
Can we?
Maybe. So but really we're focusing on what, the last year and a half, 2 years is when white has really been getting the good cards. So that's kind of where
I think we kind of went back to basically Ikoria.
Ikoria is the first one that they got a couple of them.
Yeah. And
from that point forward, it seems like we've been getting staple verses, but not really. We're not versing anything.
We haven't talked about it yet.
Yeah.
So,
other than that, anything fun? Oh, dude, I have a funny story to tell you. Okay. So, as most of you know, unless you're a recent listener as of the last, 4 or 5 months, the reason we have the segment called Unsnipped that we used to do, because both Larry and I are uncircumcised, we have wizard sleeves and all that fun stuff.
It's a good joke.
Yep. So Zeke, my youngest, he got an infection because he hasn't been cleaning as well as he should. As an uncircumcised penis, everybody's dying to hear all this stuff.
Yes.
You have to you have to clean a lot more than I guess not a normal. We're normal. We don't have our skin cut off.
We are on the side of the major portion of population on this world.
Yeah. And ours is only because it's a Smith thing, and that's why we have it that way. Whatever. It's a backstory, whatever.
I don't know.
I kept asking Cindy, should I tell this story? She's like, well, it's your audience. It's dick jokes and you're talking about pee-pee. So, so anyways, we had to get him on medication, stuff like that. But I've already gone through this with him about cleaning, but I wanted to show him. So I showed him on myself, I was like, okay, pull your skin back and you got to make sure you do all this and all that. So like, there was our talk during the day. Mm-hmm. So at dinner, we kind of do our nobody's on iPads, nobody's on phones, and we just talk about what's going on in the day. And so Cindy's like, Zeke, how was your day? And I was like, oh, you know what? I was showing Zeke how to properly clean. Like I showed him. And Zeke goes, yeah, Daddy's pee-pee's huge. I was like, oh, thank you. And then Drake jumped. He's like, yeah, he has a big pee. I was like, okay, now we're getting a little too much. But can we record this so I can post this wherever, everywhere?
Make that a button.
Never had that ever been said in the history of my 38 years of my life. Oh my God, Daddy's pee-pee's huge. I was weary about telling it because I was like, it's just weird because I'm a dad. I'm showing him how to do it, this stuff. But yeah,
that's part of your job is to teach your boys how to
Yeah, and it wasn't about
growing to men.
The cleaning of it. It was about daddy's penis size. And I was like,
well, that's a byproduct. I mean, my son right now is getting into whenever I do anything wrong, like he'll be like, why did this happen? And I'll explain it and be like, yeah. Next person he says, doesn't matter who it, or like meets the next, doesn't matter who it is. Yeah, dad. So I broke my phone. I was sitting on it. It was in the back pocket and it broke. I was working. I got a new trampoline. I picked it up from a buddy.
Oh, damn it. No, get the, oh, good for you. Oh, good for you.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah. And so I broke it and I'm going to the store. I'm like, yeah, I kind of broke the phone, looking to get a new one. My son's just like, yeah, he sat on it and he broke the phone and he needs to do a better job next time. And I'm just like, ah, shit.
So it's almost the same thing where I said why I didn't bring Drake with me to Menards to return my snow thing because I knew he'd bust me out. Yeah, it's funny with kids going like anywhere. It's exactly what you're saying there. It's whatever's on their mind. There is no filter. It is coming out. Like half the time I'm like, okay, stop talking, please. Yeah. So, PP story. That's pretty much all I had for that.
Mm-hmm.
That was my week. Just the PP story.
That's a good week, I guess.
I do want to make a side note really quick. I kind of talked to you about this beforehand. That secret layer drop is out, and we're going to reference a little bit more of that because the shorts are out too. But I do want to reference that the one that Lowery chose last week, which was the Commander deck, I think I gave a breakpoint number of, I think I said 6. No, I said 4. And
That's
then,
not right.
No, it's not right at all. And then Guy on the Discord, he kind of sent over a thing saying, actually, there's about 45 cards that are foil. And then you have the 5 cards, the main guys in the set are foil. So you have half and half. So there's more that are foil. So I did a deeper breakdown of that. FYI, people, the Commander deck is by far the best one to go for. It has a breakpoint of 2.
Hey, number 2.
Kind of just 1.
It's technically 1. I mean, if you don't care about the cards in the actual deck and you have all those, like I'm only missing 1 card out of that. Oh, good for me. I'm going to be able to sell all the rest of that. There's $225 worth of value in just the deck itself. And that's a $99 thing. Mm-hmm. And then I also missed adding one of the cards. We didn't talk about Krark's Thumb last week, which is a $40 foil card. So that actually makes the 5 cards they give you $102. So just those $5 or 5 cards is $102 of value. And then you add the $225 in. So currently, I think this one goes until like mid-December. I think it's like December 23rd, if I remember right. Somewhere in the 20s in December. If you're looking for value, do what Lowery picked. Go for the Commander deck.
Because I'm a genius.
Yes, you are. Yeah, and the one that I was like, the one that I'm probably going to go deep on, I think I gave a break point of 3, and it's really a break point of 4 because it's just whatever.
Like 3.5.
Yeah, whatever. So that I didn't do that one.
It was amazing.
I went deep on the Commander one. I bought foil and then the Commander one. I was like, I'm getting a few of those because it's good. The cards in it are going to be good, like card sphere trading stuff. Like the ones, I'm doing trades between 5 and 10 for card sphere, and then everything over 10 is eBay. Mm-hmm. There's a crap ton of cards that I'm going to be able to put on Card Sphere and get some value for. So You got something in Card Sphere this week that I'm pretty damn jealous of.
Yeah, Meat Hook Massacre.
Son of a bitch.
Boop, boop.
Oh, good gorgeous. For
it's
you.
The promo stamp too. So
I didn't notice that. It has that.
Mm-hmm.
That's freaking fantastic.
Because people are willing to give those up for cheap, but I think that's a good way to go to have it just be a bit more in the future.
Wait, the Planeswalker one? Like with the thingies? Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I like those a lot better.
Yeah.
I think it's an added security to fakes and all that stuff too. We've talked about that.
Hard to fake that.
Yeah. So you son of a bitch. That's one thing I'm probably going to try to get from my Card Kingdom order is pick one of those up because
so expensive on Card Kingdom though.
Is it?
That's one of those things when you can go back and forth. Card Kingdom has it for like $40, 45.
And what'd you get
on Card Sphere? I got it for about 27.
Okay. So I just need to send more to Cardsphere, which I did. I did just start getting back into Cardsphere stuff this week because I was a little distracted with Diablo that came out, and that was kind of taking up my trading card time. So and then you put the bug in me, and I was like, all right. So I spent all day. I think that was Saturday night until like 2:00 in the morning. Okay.
Wait, hold on.
Episode?
Oh, good for you.
There we go.
Do you have like a thing on the side that tells you which button? So you have to look over to the. You have the thing I wrote.
The buttons are over here. I'm
I
still
just always,
organizing.
I just know that my first button is.
Oh, good for you.
I just have to go to the right page. You should know that.
I just gotta. I gotta make sure I'm not hitting nerd because that thing is way too loud.
So the next time we do an update to your board, we need to remove the nerd.
Yeah,
because I think it's a little loud. All right. Okay. So let's get to tags. All right. You can become a patron if you donate $1 or more a month. That gets you into the Discord, gets you chatting with all of us and doing trades and all that fun stuff. A lot of dick jokes, all that fun stuff. I said fun stuff twice. $5 or more gets you proxy each month. Depending on your level, you can be the common, uncommon, rare, mythic level. We do have, I know we talked about foils before, and foiling hasn't been working out as well as I'd like it. The beginning stuff was working, and then all of a sudden it just stopped working.
We figured it out.
Because of all of you, we have new printers coming that we will be able to do the foiling a lot easier and the proxies a lot easier. So actually, thanks to you guys for you patrons, because that is going to make it a lot easier to get you guys nice looking proxies each month. So $5 or more gets you that. If you're at the $100 or more Garuk Dong level, we will give shout outs, which that is actually, I think, on my.
It's kind of like a Jerry Maguire situation, right? It's like, help me, help you.
Yeah, get better proxies.
That's
what it is. Oh, speaking of the proxies, for all you guys that are waiting this month, we are behind. So you haven't gotten your proxies yet, but they're made and they're getting ready to be shipped out. Lowery moved this month, Thanksgiving. There's just lots of stuff that was going on. So we are a little bit behind. Those are going out. Again, you have over 250 proxies to choose from, including proxies that were made this week. We'll get to that in a second. But the free way to support our show is to jump on YouTube. And that's where you can subscribe and you'll get notifications of new videos that come out, including a bi-weekly. Am I saying that right? Bi-weekly means...
Wait. Every other week.
Okay, so it's not bi-weekly.
Oh, maybe it's twice a week.
That's I'm like, every time I've said bi-weekly, I'm like, wait, am I now saying every other, or am I saying
I'm not sure anymore.
Because bi means two, bi-weekly. We're gonna get notifications.
How would you say every other week? I think you just say every other week if it was just that.
Yeah, every other week.
We'll go.
Wouldn't it be bi-monthly? You'd get two a month.
Why don't you say just twice a week?
Twice, because that's what I changed. Okay. Twice a week.
All right.
You can see videos like Curated MTG, which what just came out today. And actually, why don't you tell us about Friday's one that you're a little disappointed didn't get the clicks that the one today is getting?
All right. So last Friday's was Words of Wind, which is a blue enchantment, 2 colors blue enchantment. Whenever you draw a card, you can pay 1 to not draw a card, and you and everybody else get to return a permanent back to your hand. The card is crazy cool. Especially if you're going to be drawing a ton of cards. Check out that video because it did not go off like I thought it would. Today's seems to be going off a lot better. Equilibrium, which is colors blue enchantment. Whenever you cast a creature, you can pay 1 and then bounce any other creature on the board, yours or an opponent. And so a lot of the times it's used to bounce your own creature.
But that's really nice to bounce other people's stuff. Like that's an excellent card. And
so it's a really cool card, and it seems to be doing well.
Both of them seem very similar in that your thought on it is bouncing your own stuff to be able to get the ETB effect into it, right? Yeah.
And so I have them both in my Morph Kadena deck, but there are definitely other uses for it as I go into detail in the video. So
both are cards I do not have. So that's, and the thing is you got to kind of pick these up because I think Lowery's Curated is now turning into command zone game nights type thing where
Drogue Skull Reaver.
Yeah.
Up to
It's
$20
not that there was
now.
a spirit deck that came out. It's more that
It's not that
curated.
Command Zone played it and featured it a little bit.
Hey, no.
It's definitely my curated
it's
that came
curated.
out a month ago or two. That there was no spikage at that.
We have to claim it takes time for people to buy it out. You know, you got to buy out the little guys.
We take
and
as
then
much
find-
credit as we can. Hull Breacher banned
Hull
because
Breacher.
of us.
Yes, that's exactly where I was going. All right. So the biggest thing with those shorts is make sure you watch them all the way through. Give it a like and shoot us comments on there because we will try to respond. We do try to respond as much as possible on those, unlike Twitter. Some other videos you can check out. So Proxy Time is something that I try to do every Sunday. That's at 7:30 p.m. Central. This last week was Grim Monolith. I realized I had done that proxy before, just hadn't posted it for everybody for the Discord or people. So I redid it because I actually didn't like how I did the old one. And then I added a Lord of the Rings Two Towers art, which turned out fucking fantastic. I love
I did like it.
Yeah, I
I hopped
that
on
one
real quick.
Yeah, I like that one a lot better than the other one I did, so I'll probably never make that one for myself. But that's 7:30, and then as I mentioned last week, I did continue with the Secret Lair stuff, and I will continue getting those out. There's just a lot of them with this fucking drop. But it's the Breakpoint video. So last week's was what I did. I did Arcane. Oh yeah. So I did the Arcane. I'll probably be doing the Commander one because obviously that's the one that we
That
just
seems
talked
to be the
about.
money one.
Yeah. So again, with all those shorts or the other videos, just watch them through, like them. That's the big thing there. You can also check out this podcast so you can see us, and every card that we talk about will pop up as we're talking about them. So if you're like, hey, I want to know what that card is and I don't want to rewind, watch us on YouTube and then you can see the card. And that's what you do.
It's
there.
true.
Follow us on Twitter. That's where you can do the voting for a lot of the stuff we do. You can see any video that we talk about here gets shared there. And I kind of hopped on because you did it. I'm following you, Lowery. But our Discord thing is if you're posting a drink, like the not sharing with Adam, it's changed on our Discord. It's not sharing with Adam, but it's more of you have to post to pimp out a card with it. So we
It could
pimp
be
out a
any card
with a drink. Yeah.
Or a potato.
Or yes. That was fucking ridiculous. I guess number 2 changed the goddamn name of one of our channels to because I don't like mashed potatoes, as you guys know.
Yeah.
And he fucking changed the name, and all of a sudden I get all these notifications, and I'm like, what? Why is this thing called mashed potato? Or
It's totally
potatoes?
Adam likes potatoes. Yeah, totally number 2 that did that.
And so it was just all potatoes for Thanksgiving.
Totally number 2.
Yeah, it was. Oh, you did it. You did it. I totally thought it was number 2. You son of a bitch. It still says it as potatoes.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Why? I just assumed it was number 2. Why? Of course it was you, Larry.
I wasn't going to take credit until now, but I enjoyed that.
Had you had something to drink at that point? No?
I was totally sober. No, I think somebody else pointed out that they wanted we're going to tag you in all the potato picks.
Yeah.
So that was like the day before, and then
I thought that's why I assumed it was number 2. I thought he had said that.
Oh, he
and
might
so
have.
that's why I was like, oh, it's number 2 that changed it because he has that power.
He does. We do
Well,
give him that for some reason.
You got me, you fucker.
I can
all
be
right.
funny sometimes.
So that's where you see all this stuff on Twitter. You can direct message us there, or you can direct message us on Gmail, which is CommanderSmiths@gmail.com. And that's also where you can send the suggestions for, you can tell I'm delaying, where you can send the suggestions for this. It's time for everyone's favorite game show, Stump the Smith Savant. All right, hopefully my audio does not blow out on your end this week because every time it blows out for you.
Yeah.
All right, if you guys don't know how this game works, I am going to read the flavor text of a card, and Lowery is going to try to guess the card by asking yes or no questions.
Yes.
Every yes, you'll hear this.
Hello, boobies.
Every no, you'll hear this.
Wrong, 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 wrong.
He gets up to 5 wrong guesses. He gets up to 3 clues. If he can guess what the casting cost is, what type of card, what color the card is, basically what the card does, or not what the card, well, yeah, what the card does, but the name of it, he will get the initials of the card. Right now we have Chatterfang full art and this little autographed Chatterfang guy.
I watched Chatterfang sign that thing. It was impressive.
He has a weird, am I going to catch
Got
that?
a claw.
Yeah. It's a nice little signature there. So that is up for grabs. This is week 2, so I was wrong last week.
So I've only gotten one so far.
So last week was Guy challenging you, and we have another oldie Discord but goodie Discord.
Zero Cool coming
Zero
this way.
Cool is going to try to get you.
I watched the last 5 minutes.
5 minutes of the. So all right. So now I think that's it. Everything there. So every 4 weeks we will add a card. Make sure you guys send me those suggestions. Send me an email, or if you're on the Discord, shoot me a direct message. Because not that we have a lot of people to draw from, but just keep adding more so you get a chance to win these. All right, so here we go. This one's gonna be fun. Nobody asked you to butt in, Jace, but thanks. Chandra Nalar. I was gonna say Nathar. Nobody asked you to butt in, Jace.
Chandra
but thanks. Chandra Nalar.
I have a feeling I know this one. Okay, so let's see if I can get a reaction out of you. Feels like a blue card. That's an instant from Kaladesh. Colorless blue that untaps a bunch of your stuff. Wide-eyed. You're not even looking at the card.
I know, I'm looking at you.
Okay.
You and your sexy hat. That's a nice sexy hat. While Lowery is thinking here, I am drinking a Suntory Toki whiskey from my brother Joe that brought it back from Arizona. So that's what I'm drinking.
Toski.
It's not Toski. Toki.
No, Toki.
Yeah, I said Toski.
In there. So I think it's the card that I'm thinking of, but I can't really remember the name right off the top of my head right now. So let's go with
First clue.
I'll take a clue.
The art features Jace, Nissa, Liliana, Gideon, and Ajani.
Yeah. Okay, what the fuck is the name of this card? I definitely so it's colorless, blue, instant, Kaladesh. Untap all non-land permanents you control.
The initials are DR.
Shit, I don't know.
You still have 2 more clues too. That was just because
I
you
know.
got everything on the card.
Yeah. Fuck. What is the
The rest
name
of the
this?
clues are gonna suck.
read.
I'm gonna give you the rest of the clues because it doesn't matter. The card has nothing to do with planeswalkers. Because it has all planeswalkers in it. The card has 1 standard printing in Kaladesh, originally in Kaladesh, and has a Game Night 2019 printing.
Okay.
So none of those help you at all. I should have changed one of those clues but you have it. I mean, it's DR.
I have it. Yeah.
DR.
Dramatic reversal.
Boom!
There we go.
Nicely
I'm sorry,
done.
Zero. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was impressed. You got it like right away. You're just like, I know this card. It's like, yeah. It's a unique card. I thought it was a good. I thought it was a good one in that. Wait, turn off the music. That you have all the planeswalkers on the card, and it has nothing to do with the planeswalkers at all. But it's pretty sweet. You don't have. I almost was gonna say the original planeswalkers, and I was like, no, we're missing. Well,
Garruk.
we don't have Chandra. We don't have Garuk's Dong.
Wait,
on there.
Chandra's not in the picture, but she's
No,
quoting.
She's not in the picture.
That's stupid.
But I do see. I think it's like there's some trails like whips. You know how are like fire whips? It's like in the upper left hand corner. So maybe
Gideon has whips too.
Oh, it is Gideon's. Yeah,
All
it's right next to where Gideon is. Yep. So yeah, Chandra's not even in it. So
That's weird.
Good job. All right. So you guys can send in your suggestions. Like I said, shoot us an email if you're not a part of the Discord. If you are a part of the Discord, shoot me a direct message and you will have a chance to stump Lowery. So we moved to week number 3. After week 4, we will add more cards into the mix. So,
Woo.
all right. So
this is going to be a short episode, actually, finally. Jeez.
Wow. Normally we don't start this part until about now. So, so we're going to talk about white and how is it the best color in Magic now? Shit. Say what? I hit I hit a button that didn't exist first, and I was like, oh shit, why isn't it? Say what? No, it's not the best color. But okay, so what's bringing this up? We kind of talked about it a couple weeks ago. If you back it up a couple episodes, just because we did top 10 stuff and white cards keep coming up at the top end of it. I think it really started hitting home a little bit was when we got to Commander Legends and how many white cards were in there. Our 2 favorite cards, our best specs, were white cards.
Yeah.
And do you think that we've actually hit a point that we are... Oh, really quick, what are you drinking? Sorry.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Surly Brewing Company, Grapefruit Supreme Tart Ale with grapefruit added. It's very tasty. Really low key. I don't
is it tart?
4.5%. Yeah. I mean it has some flavor to it. Really easy drinking, just like the last Surly that I had. I think it's gonna be a theme. So they're good beers. Nothing amazing, but they're pretty good.
Would you drink more than one back to back, or is it too tart for that kind of thing? Oh, snap. Two.
I'm on my second. I'm probably going to go for the third. So like I'm saying, like it's nothing super intense, very easily drinkable, but it's tasty. I like, it's probably the way I prefer my grapefruits.
In beer form. That's like how I want to have my fruits and vegetables. A vegetable beer? Ugh.
I would try it as long as broccoli beer would probably be pretty bad. I like broccoli, but
broccoli anything. Just broccoli.
Broccoli fine.
Disgusting. Okay. Well, broccoli is one of the few things that if it's touching something, that flavor gets moved into that and it's just gross. Like there's broccoli on pizza and I have to pick it off. When I'm eating that pizza, I'm like, oh, I can taste this broccoli. It just fucking ruined it. Ugh. Ugh. I'm very picky.
My son has a better palate than you do.
It's not better. It's actually a lot worse.
Oh, yeah.
He just doesn't know what's good for him or not.
Broccoli's terrible for him.
No. All right. White cards. So stemming back to what you mentioned earlier, Ikoria is kind of when we started seeing some pretty good white cards. I mean, there's always been good white cards, but on a consistent every set basis. Now, I know that they're behind by like 2 years. So whenever they're trying to push a trend, and white has been known for years that it's not good, but I feel like it's been really ragged on in the last few years. And do you think we're at this point that now they've been just trying to fix it and it's now starting to hit? And so now every single set has these white staples, quote unquote, or bunny ears staples.
So, like, I probably never really had the problem with white. I know we made the jokes, and it is or was at least the worst color. The thing that I always thought though was like, you don't, or at least what I thought of today when I was just trying to think of for the segment. I don't know about always.
About 5 minutes ago. No, I was
within the last 10 minutes. It doesn't have any diversity.
Yeah.
Like if you need something to deal with land in your mono white deck, land tax has to be there. You know, and Weathered Wayfarer, like there was just enough and not actually enough to make it okay.
wasn't always the bit with white is like it just, and it still is the bit. We've made the joke many times. We just, I think, made a joke last week. I think it said something like, if it was this white card, it just does everything badly. It does what it needs to do, but it does it worse. It's like lose half your life and kill every single creature you own to draw a card. Like it just does it bad, you know? Like there's nothing good about it.
6 mana exile a creature. It's the color of that exile stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's why you like it, because I think white has been known as, you know, we have the Path to Exiles, the Swords of Plowshares, very good at spot removal, just taking out little things, but it's not, and mass removal. We got the Wraths. Like it's the Wrath color.
And so I think the big thing where we're kind of is like white wasn't bad, but white was a support color.
Right.
It wasn't like I have a green white deck. It's mostly green with some white cards.
White splashed in.
And because you have those good staples that are going to go in there. Maybe there's a couple of cards on theme, but and that's where the problem comes in. And kind of what I was talking about was there wasn't the diversity in cards.
Mm-hmm.
In green, think of how many cards in green that you can choose from to draw. It's not just Sylvan Library, you know. You have Elemental Bond. You have
go back to that
Shamanic.
episode where we rated the colors too.
Yeah,
like that's actually more recent. That was only a couple months ago, where we broke that down, the numbers of everything.
Mm-hmm.
We still had white. I don't remember, where did white end
White's
up with?
land or like land involvement was at like 10.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You have 10 cards to choose from, and 5 of them were bad, like actively bad. And so you only have 5. You only had 5 cards to choose from.
They were good cards, but they're just,
you had like
you just
Smothering
don't have
Tithe,
options.
Land Tax, Weathered Wayfarer. At that point, you had the
Monologue tax. Did we consider that?
Monologue
as well?
tax, and you had Archaeologers, the
Archeomancer's
artifact
map?
one. Yeah.
Yep.
That was like the 5, and 2 of them had been printed within the last like 2 months of when we did that deal.
Yeah.
And so you just didn't have anything there. When it comes to land, you still don't really. And so that's going to hurt white, like when we're talking about mono white, right?
That's
it
the
just
hard
is
part
going
is what I think. Okay, white still isn't that. I can just play a white mono white deck. Really, it needs it, but it has always, like you were just mentioning, it has been a good support color.
Mm-hmm.
But now instead of being like, let's say like you were just in your example, a green white deck, you're probably like 80% green, 20% white. Those numbers might have shifted a little more. You might be using a bit more whites. It might be more 70-30 or 60-40 now. There's a lot more good white. And I don't like to throw the staple out there, but there's a lot of good white staple-ish cards that can be used in, like, they don't have to fit in the theme. They're just good cards to have in a white deck.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where we're kind of getting is. And we're not saying that white is now like this needs to be
omnipresent.
Right. It's
everywhere.
It's not in the discussion of, is it better than white or green and black and blue, but it's up there being like, you want that color to be a part of your.
It's not an absolute joke anymore.
Right.
I think they're getting some interesting cards in there.
Let's kind of go over some of this stuff here. Okay. Do you want to do some of the breakdown of that stuff? So back in Ikoria, where we mentioned that's kind of where you kind of notice a couple cards in there. We have, Luminous Broodmoth would be an interesting one. I mean, that's just a. Yeah. So what that one does is when
that was in our top 10 where.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I didn't put that in because I only went with our top 10s of the last 5. Okay. But that was back in May of 2020. And you also have Dranith, which was in our saltiest cards, but it's a used card. So Luminous is in 10,000 decks. Dranith, which basically shuts down commanders, 31,000 EDH rec decks. Like that card, and we mentioned that was
everywhere. And we said that's what it was. I think that was my spec pick for Ikoria.
Yep, it definitely was.
Like it was just like, go for that card, and you can see it in the numbers.
And then you move into Core Set 2021, which came out a month later in June. And what did we have there? That was actually kind of one of the ones that triggered things for us a little bit.
Mangara, the Diplomat,
which has a little bit of Monologue tax splashed in with all this other crap on it. Like, it's just fucking ridiculous.
Well, I mean, it's that. So I think this is kind of a sweet spot for white, and maybe there's some other colors that kind of do it. Like I've seen it in red, blue. It's just like whenever an opponent does something twice, you get a benefit from it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're pushing that into white now, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, because what it does is it's slowing down your opponents to maybe think about, hey, let's not just go off. And if they do, you're getting a benefit from that. And to have that happen with multiple things, I think that's a good way to get white a benefit with the draw, with, monologue taxes with treasure. I think monologue tax, I think it's still a good card. I'm not saying we overhyped it, but I kind of feel like we did.
We did.
Everybody did.
I think so. Yeah.
Everybody did. That's still part of this. I think it's a good card. It's 9,000 EDH rec decks.
If it was before Smothering Tithe, like if they reversed, then yes, like that would be white's best card up until Smothering Tithe. If that would, if they just switch spots on release.
I still think it's a really good card.
Smothering Tithe is so good.
Yeah. I think if they would have changed, I think to make it more broken-ish is if they would have changed it to every card you cast beyond the second you get a treasure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead
That
of just
could have
the
been
second.
something that they did too. I think because it still plays with the idea of white playing behind, but you're not falling too far behind. And even though I hate it as a theme, like that white is, if you're behind, you're not going to fall that far behind.
Right.
That's like, but you're putting cards in that aren't getting you ahead.
That is a really good point though. Like,
but that's how it
White's
always has been. That's land
is
tax right there.
Yeah, no, it is. It's land tax. It's is Weathered Wayfarer the same way too? Yeah.
If you have
And
an
even,
opponent that has more land.
What's the night that when it comes in, as long as somebody has more land than you get to go?
Knight of the White Orc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every single fucking thing that's good for white is like, make sure you're behind when you play this card.
Yeah. And so if you pack your decks in with a bunch of cards that say like, if you're behind, this is really good. It's like, well, what happens when they're bad cards when you're ahead? You can never get ahead. But at least you're not falling so fucking behind like white was. So you're getting enough of those cards right now that at least give you some diversity and some choice. And I think that's what's important is like, I know that we had core cards for Commander and like we talk about staples and white had its staples, but it didn't really have its standards. It didn't have anything behind it. There was no bench. It wasn't deep. There wasn't, what is white? It was life gain.
Yeah.
Green does tokens better than white. Black is probably on par with tokens on white. Like white just kind of got all of its stuff taken other than life gain. And so when part of the complaint I always found white was boring because it wasn't doing anything other than supporting.
Yeah. It was a support color completely. You really just had blue, black, and green as your main colors, and then white and red are your supports.
Yeah.
Okay, so where do we want to move from there? So we get into Commander Legends last year, and we have the two cards that we really liked, which was Akroma's Will and Keeper of the Cord. Both of those 18,000, 21,000 EDH rec decks. I was doing a search on EDH rec and Court of Grace. I actually wanted to put it on here, and then when I saw it in there, it's in the top, I think it was like 20 or 30 cards of white. Court of Grace is in 11,000 EDH rec decks. It needs to be played more. Like, that's not a lot, but that's a good card. Like, looking at that card, do you know what that one does off the top of your head? Like,
it's monarchy, and then gives you a counter, and then if you're the monarch, you get a angel.
You get a 1/1 each turn, no matter what.
Okay.
And then if you are the Monarch, you get a 4/4 Angel. So you're getting a token, you're getting a draw because you're taking the Monarch no matter what.
Yeah.
And then you're adding creatures every turn. Even if you're not the Monarch, you keep adding creatures. It's a good card. But Keeper of the Accord and Akroma's Will were the two that we were like, pick these up. They're fucking fantastic. One of them.
Yeah.
I
like Akroma's Will. I played it a lot more. I think I have it in 2 or 3 decks right now.
And that's the game winner one, or Protection in the same way.
Yeah.
And then Keeper of the Accord is that the... I don't know off the top of my head.
It's if you're behind. If somebody has a creature, you get to put a creature into play, and if somebody has more land, you get to put a land into play.
Yeah.
So, but it is a really good card.
But it is at the beginning of each opponent's end step.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
there's that. Yeah. So that's why we like both of those cards. Okay, so then we got Commander Legends. Then we get into Commander 2021, which was in April of this year. Like you mentioned, Archeomancer's Map, that's in 16,000 decks. Monologue Tax, like we mentioned, 9,000 decks. Move into MH2 and probably the most popular card out of this whole thing. Do you know what that is? Esper.
Oh, yeah.
Sentinel.
Yeah. Esper Sentinel's nuts.
So that just came out in the summer of 21. Guess how many decks it's in? Well, I sent you a picture. Do you remember even looking at the
20,000? Over 20,000 easily.
33,000 EDH rep
I believe
decks.
it. I have it in
insane.
3 decks.
It's insane. It's the most decks out of all these that have been out for a couple of years and all that. So it's just
because that is a legitimately good card. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's there because let's maybe we still have some more cards to go, but I think
go ahead.
When we're saying that like white has got better, at least in my opinion, it has gotten better. And that could be because of the design of the, like, I think it's called Fire Design. That's the era that we're in right now. That started with Throne of Eldraine. And since then, like, white has gotten better, and they've made a conscious decision to make sure that white carved out its own stuff, and everything that we're talking about, that's all planned.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, green in that range gets Nyxbloom Ancient or Elysian of the Grove. And like just these insane fucking cards, or Cultivator Colossus that we're just talking about. Like, these are really, really, really powerful cards for green. That was already a really, really powerful color. And
well, they got to make us green players happy. You can't give it all to white and be like,
but I think balance would be more healthy for the game. Right,
balance the card,
and we're still, and again, I'm not saying that they can't do what green's doing, like for green, but for white, they could ratchet it up a little bit more, and it'd be fucking fine.
Well, let's jump ahead really quick. White has been out of the last 5 top 10s that we've done. Not that we get cards banned or anything like that, but out of our top 10 commander cards, white this last set. Wedding Ring, number 1, which there was a lot of discussion this week because that fucking card went crazy because it's super limited to get that. It's not even in a commander deck. It's in the collector, whatever.
Set and collector boosters and set boosters are limited right now because of printing issues.
Yeah. So you have Wedding Ring at number 1. We have, out of the 5, we have 3 that are number 1 are white cards. So Esper Sentinel, Wedding Ring, and Monologue Tax. So those 3. We have 3 that are number 3 spots. Same set, this last set, Storm of Souls, Guardian of Faith, which was the D&D set, and Archeomancer's Map, which we mentioned already as well there. And then we have, let's see, 1, 2. So we have 2 number 4s, Promise of Loyalty and Solitude. So every single top 10 we've done the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets, there's a white card that is in the top 10, and multiples, 3 out of the 5 that are 3 out of the top 5 cards are white cards. And that's our opinion. That's our opinion, man. But it's our opinion with it.
Right.
And a lot of these are top cards for that get played. I mean, we showed the stats there with Esper Sentinel being 33,000. What was another one? Oh, so we have Guardian Faith was the lowest one, the D&D one. That's at 5,000 EDH rec. That one's
It's a knight with flash that comes into play, and then it phases out whatever creatures you want.
I just think it hasn't really caught on. That when did D&D come out? That was this summer, right?
Yeah, core set. So like
set,
July-ish.
Yeah.
It was like a month and a half after Modern Horizons 2, which could also be an issue because Modern Horizons 2 is still really good. It's such a crazy good set.
We're still picking up cards from that. Both you and I are like, because it's the lowest price that it's going to be right now, and it's just only there's so many good cards in that. But with white, I still don't have that, like, other than I would say Keeper Akroma's Will. There isn't like game winners. It still has that support, but it just has really good support. And so that's like just...
You have a really good point, because like every white commander product that they make, the only finisher they have in there is like Zapulta, that indestructible dinosaur that has double strike. It's been in like the last 3 fucking years. Just like the only finisher that they can come up with for white.
Yeah, they just it's still a support color, but it just makes the support. You don't just have Teferi's Protection anymore, is kind of what I'm getting at. Is we have variations of Teferi's Protection, which we've talked about. Teferi's Protection is one of the best cards in the game. It isn't a game winner necessarily. It's more of a save your ass thing.
But it's white's best card.
Yes. But now we have a lot more options of other... Like, if we did a core cards for Commander, which... When was the last time we did white's core cards for Commander? Probably like 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago?
No, we would have done that in the first year. Yeah. So 3.5 years ago.
I guarantee you there may be like 1 or 2 cards that are still on that list, and everything is replaced with all the new shit. Yes! Don't you think so? Do you remember how many we would talk about?
We would talk about as many cards as we could. And so we'd have like 30 or 40 cards.
Was that the day and age that we would talk about just cards the entire time?
We'd be like, and this, and this, and this. And so
now we can't do that because we do YouTube stuff. Yeah. So it's like, fuck that. We are not talking about that many cards. Like, I am not putting that many cards up on the fucking YouTube.
Everybody thinks that like lists are really big on YouTube because like it gets a lot of clicks and views, but really it just, everybody does it because they don't want to be doing 50 cards on YouTube. And they're just like, let's make 10, top 10. That's what we're doing.
It takes a lot to do all those. It doesn't seem like a lot of work, but it does. It's behind the curtain shit. Okay. So where are we with white? Where in the world is
I think it's becoming more fun to play. I always enjoyed playing it. Like I enjoyed my Oketra deck, which was mono white, back at War of the Spark. I still think it's narrow, but I think it's getting, like I said, a bigger bench so that you have more cards to choose from.
Here's 2 questions for you. 1, out of the 5 colors, do you move it in the rankings at all? Is it up to a 4, up to a 3, up to a 2, up to a 1? As a solo color, like strong color. You still at a 5 or is it a 4?
It's at least competing against red.
I would... personally, I think I would put white ahead of red now, like just in my personal preference of that, for that alone. Now, second part to the question. As a support color, as a color to add in to help other colors out, this could be number 1 for me. This could be one of the best colors to splash in with whatever other color you're playing, because it does have that removal. It does have, they keep adding this support where it's not by itself. Where would you put that in your support color? Would you still want green as your support? Like if you're playing a blue deck and you want green blue, we're not basing on what the commander you're playing.
I mean,
whatever.
Green blue is like the nuts.
Yeah.
For color combos.
Right. That's our.
And so I think you should kind of look at that idea of what are the color pairings that you want to be playing the most because they work the best together, they're the most powerful, or they have cards that you want to play, whatever the reason, is white in there?
Mm-hmm.
Are you wanting to play green-white over green-blue?
Green-blue is my favorite 2-color combo.
I know. And green-black was my next one. I don't remember what your next one was. And so, like, is it going? Is green-white going over green-black now?
Maybe. I like green-black a lot. I play a lot of green-black decks. I have more green-black decks than probably any other color combo that I have. 2-color combo.
And so I think this is more that it's like still a new idea. It's still developing, and it is moving up. It feels like I don't want, like, red white and red white black are just like colors that people hate. I see people red white green, red white black, and red white are like the 3 color combos that I see people just shit on.
Except for if you're playing an Edgar deck, then you have your red.
Yeah. But that's a commander and stuff like that. And
that's the cat's meow right now.
Is Edgar still over 100 right now?
Yeah. Freaking. I got to sell one of those big ass foil ones because there's at $30-$40 at this point, which is ridiculous.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. White. Did it move up? I mean, it's moved up there. It's funny. What I was going to say is it's funny because we both green and blue, green, like each one is green with what? Green with, because we'd rather play green as our number 1 color. We're both the same. I think green, white, I think as a support color, it moves up to 3rd for me. Unless we're considering like it's green as our number 1 color that we're using. It's really, it would be 3rd because, right? Am I doing the calculations there right?
I'm not going to talk for you. You're a grown ass man.
Green with whatever color. Green with blue is what I'd like to play. Green with black, and then green with white. I think that's how I'd like it. Not green with red. No. Stompy colors. Well, that's really it. So
there's 4.
But okay, let's take green out of it. Would you do a white? No, then you're just doing all the color combos.
I don't have problems playing with white.
No, I don't either.
Like, I enjoy my Rian deck, which is 9
colors. What I'm asking is it changing your way of build, like wanting to play with white more because of all the tools that they've added? No. I want to because there's a lot of. I haven't had the opportunity because I haven't played white in a while. All the decks that I've chosen are not based off of colors typically. Like normally whenever I'm picking a deck, it's more of what the commander is doing.
Yeah.
And normally it's not a white thing that's happening. I'd like to play white, I guess is what I'm getting at. I'd like to use some of these top 10 cards that we keep talking about that I've never got to play with.
Yeah.
Like I've never got to play with any of these cards yet.
You haven't?
No.
So I'm sorry. They're cool. They're fun. Akroma's Will is bonkers. It's such a good card.
I haven't played with a single. I'm looking at this list and I'm like, none of these are in a deck because I haven't played a white deck and I can't remember when. I haven't built a new white deck.
And you don't update it nearly as much as like I do. So some cool cards that I would say have come out as well that we didn't talk about. We don't even have to really even talk about it other than. So Mantle of the Ancients just came out. It was in one of the Commander sets, but aura that comes into play and that can bring back all the auras and equipment back
from the graveyard,
like onto that creature. It's like a Bruna or that other angel, but just in aura form. I love it. There's Armored Sky Hunter. When it attacks, you get to look at the top like 4 or 5 cards and put an aura or equipment. Like they're allowing, they're giving auras and equipment these like card advantage ways because maybe they didn't understand it before, but if you're going Voltron or auras and equipments, if they get blown up, your shit is pushed. Yeah. You're done. And so you need a way to come back, and they're giving you ways to come back, which is nice. That's that bench I was talking about. Like there's just, I'm going to play good equipment. If they get blown up, my game is done. And that's not fun because
there's a lot of times there's a wrench that gets thrown in. Yeah, there's a wrench that gets thrown in, and your shit's going to get killed.
Personal favorite is Search the Premises from MH2. whenever you're attacked, create a clue for as many creatures that are attacking you.
Yeah, I had that on the list, but it isn't getting as much play.
It's not getting to play. Personal favorite.
Well, no,
I
I think the reason why it's not is because there were so many good things in MH2. Because I like looked it up, like I was like, I'm gonna put that on the list, and then I was like, oh, it's only in like, I think it was like 1,500 decks or 2,000 decks. Even though that's not a lot, but that just came out this summer. You know, it's not that long, so that's actually kind of a lot for a set that just came out, and it's not a standard set. So I do like that card a lot because that was in our honorable mentions, I believe, for our top 10.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah,
it was yours. Of course, you brought it up.
There's Heliod the Sun Crowned.
Oh, that one was on. I had that. Oh no, I had Heliod's Intervention.
Yeah, which is also a fantastic card. Yeah, I have that in 2 of my decks.
That's a 23,000 decks.
Loyal Warhound gives an alternative to Knight of the White Orchid, or just next to each other, but just like a little bit more of that same thing. Dismantling Wave from the Korea commander sets, where it's like your opponents all sacrifice an artifact or enchantment, and then you can cycle it for like 8, and then everybody, you get rid of all their artifacts and enchantments, exile. It's really cool.
What's that one from? Ikoria?
Ikoria commander set.
Oh, the commander set. Yeah, okay.
So probably the one with Calcian in it.
I also had
the humans
one that I didn't mention was the Felidar Retreat, which I liked it, and I didn't realize that it was still in so many, but that was from Zendikar Rising. That's 18,000 decks. That one has the landfall trigger stuff.
Yeah, it's one of the best landfall cards out there, being an enchantment for sure.
Because it creates a creature and does the Cathar's Crusade ability in a way with the landfall stuff. Yeah. So it's kind of
There's
ridiculous.
Flawless Maneuver for the free. That
was one of my specs. No, that's fine. That was one of my specs from that set when we did our one spec for that. So that one's in 24,000 EDH rec decks, which I'm surprised. Like I didn't realize it was going to be in that many decks there.
There's that Angel from Zendikar, Angel of Destiny.
Which one was that? I know
that's the one when it attacks, it gives like everybody's gaining life, and if you have like 20 more life, they lose the game if you just attacked them. That should be a really good card. Like that one should be being played more probably.
Yeah,
so because it's one of the few really good payoffs for life gain. So
goes in all the life gain decks.
Yeah.
So I mean, is there a color that what's the next one to work on? We think this jumped ahead of red.
Yeah, they should probably pay attention to red a little bit.
Yes. Red is now my wait a second. What am I talking about? I'm like, red is now my color that I don't want to play. And I'm like, all I do is build fucking red decks. What the fuck am I talking about? But it's just I want for red, I want them to keep going with treasures. Like I want that to be red's thing, but then also I do like that they splash it into other colors, you know. Of course. Let's give it to green. We forgot to mention that dragon.
Yeah. Old Gnawbone, it shouldn't be fucking green.
Old Gnawbone
fucking ridiculous.
The best treasure.
One thing that I was thinking of, and I know it doesn't pertain to this conversation for white at all, but what I wish they would do is for white's mana ramp would be the cost reductions. Because they're like a taxing type card. So they're like opponents have to pay 1 or 2 more for X, Y, and Z. It'd be nice if they added in whites like you get to play 1 white spell for 1 less per turn. You know, stuff like that. So instead of ramp, it's reducing the cost. So instead of
the amulets is kind of what you're saying. The ones that reduce the color of white spells.
Yeah. I guess that would be it came into my mind because of Grand Arbiter. I was like, that's such a good white/blue commander. But if that was a mono white commander, that totally works for me. And so
reducing, that could be white's big, instead of you're behind, how do we catch you? You're behind because you're playing white. How do we get you back in this game?
You're playing a bad color. We're going to make you not so bad. So I agree. I think red can just have treasures everywhere. I'm fine with that. It's kind of like a ritual in a way that just kind of sticks around.
Yeah. Treasure, All right.
So,
should we move into our last segment?
all right, moving on.
Excuse me, I believe you have my stapler.
Fight!
Staple versus. All right, what are we doing this week? Oh, wait. Before we do this week, we have the results for last week.
Oh.
Where do you think this one shook out? Taking the hat off. Oh, it's getting a little too hot.
It got hot.
You guys should check the video out, the YouTubes, because Lowery had a sexy hat on, and I really liked it. Now he took it off. I'm very sad. Okay, so where do you think that last week was Ink Shield versus Archeogenesis?
Arachnogenesis. I saw at least a few comments that made me feel like I got dominated.
Yeah. Nope. Let's see here. All right. YouTube voted. 68% of the votes went to
Ink Shield.
Yes,
Wow.
that went to Ink Shield. 68. Twitter. 52. Now this one's close.
That's closer.
52% of the votes went to Ink Shield. That was actually tied up until like right before it ended because last I saw it was 50-50. And then the Discord that backs Lowery beyond belief. 61% of the votes went to Ink Shield. Yeah. I got you.
Just crushed me.
You were fist pumping and everything.
I was. 61%. I was like, yeah. But no. Ink Shield. All right. So domination.
The totals was 60% to 40%.
Okay.
Which
That's
went
not
to
good.
Ink Shield. So
that's not good.
Thank you guys for voting. Again, you guys can vote on YouTube. You can vote on Twitter and vote on the Discord. This week, what are we dealing with? We're dealing with land stuff, aren't we?
Yes. I'm going to be taking Life from the Loam, which is colorless green sorcery, and you can return up to 3 target lands in your graveyard back to your hand. And then it also has
Dredge 3.
Dredge 3. I was going to say Delve, and I knew that they work together, but
yeah.
Dredge 3, which is if you draw a card, you can bring Life from the Loam back from your graveyard into your hand and then put the top 3 cards of your library into the graveyard.
Yep.
And you're doing
Crucible of Worlds. And what that is, artifact, 3 colorless mana. You may play land cards from your graveyard. So, again, we have one spot in this marvelous deck that we have built, and it has to deal with land. And it's a green deck. We know that.
No, it doesn't have to be a land deck. It's just
whatever.
It's just a little bit of land support.
Yeah, all right. Well, you play Life from the
You
Loam
don't
in
need
every green deck, though?
No.
Oh, I'm about to win my argument right from the beginning. Do you play Crucible Worlds in almost every...
No, I don't.
You're such a liar.
No.
You put Crucible of Worlds in so many decks.
No. Okay.
But
Crucible
we're not talking
of Worlds
about that.
goes well because you're specifying color, so I'm going to specify color. I like Crucible of Worlds way more in blue, black, white, and red decks.
When you're using fetch lands, right?
Well, I mean, I use fetches and everything, but green doesn't need Crucible of Worlds. The other colors do.
So, are we saying that this is a mono green deck in this?
Nah, we don't have to.
Right.
That doesn't have to apply.
All right.
So like Crucible is. You talk about it. I fucking hate that card. I don't know.
Yeah, right. You're about to pimp it out. I pimp your shit out every week. You pimp it out because I can't pimp out Life from the Loam because I haven't played that.
You don't have to.
Dude, okay, so Crucible of Worlds goes in any deck that you're using fetches. Any deck that you should be playing fetch. If you're playing, I'll give you this.
Or cycle lands. Not to help
anything,
you.
I'll give you this. Life from the Loam, I think, is fantastic in a mono green deck because you're not necessarily doing fetches per se. You might still use your Evolving Wilds and Prismatic Vista and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But Crucible really shines when you're starting to use multiple colors because you're using those fetch lands to go get those lands, or it's fucking fantastic in a landfall deck. But also Life from the Loam is fantastic in the landfall deck as well, because you're bringing back those lands that you're getting rid of. It does some dirty stuff with Strip Mine, with Wasteland, because you can keep bringing it back, and not have to worry about.
Life from the Loam can do that though too.
And that's what I was about to say. Not have to worry about dredging 3 of your cards off the top. Although that does help you because you might dredge land into that as well. But then you're having to cast it. I only have to cast Crucible of Worlds, and it's just out there, baby. I just bring it back. I keep bringing it back.
I think that's a really good point. You have 3 mana investment. I have 2, then 2, then 2.
Each time. But you are getting 3 lands, and it doesn't have to be 3. It's up 2. So if there's only 1 in there, you can just grab the 1 out of there and do that as well.
It's a great card for that for 2 reasons. Like if you're playing cards, like a deck that allows you to discard cards, Life from the Loam is a great card just to discard because you can bring it back whenever you need to or want to. It doesn't have to be just a dead card in your hand. Well, Crucible of Worlds is much easier to get rid of because it's a permanent. So you can like go 3, get 1, and then somebody blows it up and you're done. But with Life from the Loam, somebody has to either like they have to exile your graveyard when it's in your graveyard. And you can technically just draw it whatever speed and then bring it back to your hand. So it can be really hard to get rid of if you so choose.
But you have to keep paying.
Yep, you definitely have to keep paying, but oftentimes you only have to pay the 2 maybe once or twice because it brings the 3 lands back into your hand. So
but that's why I was saying it has to be more of a land fall-ish deck, not land fall, but because you need the land in your graveyard. You're not going to be playing. I guess when I made the point of it in a mono green deck, that doesn't work out either, because how often in a mono color deck are you going to be putting those? You're not playing fetches. You're not playing cards that are going to hit your graveyard as your land.
So, I mean, it definitely more like what shines in those graveyard decks like Gitrog Monster or Yavimaya. The mono green one that like when land dies, you get a 5/3 elemental. That's not Yavimaya. It's
the Arga. What's her name? It starts with an A, doesn't it?
Argoth.
Yeah,
it might be Yavimaya.
No, it's not Yavimaya, but she got printed in the Double Masters.
MH2.
Yep, you're right. Yep, you're right. And
so like it goes in those kind of decks. There are a lot of like red has stuff where you can discard lands to draw cards, which it's great with. And then you have blue has kind of some of that stuff, but blue has a lot of like draw discard. Red has the discard draw discard. Like those kind of decks love Life from the Loam because you can just discard Life from the Loam, or you can discard those extra lands that you don't need, and it just kind of like gives you some really nice value when you're doing stuff like that.
You want to know the name of it? I had the last Argoth.
Yeah,
is right.
Tatiova.
Titania. Hit the button.
True story, bro.
There we go. Kid can't even read.
The buttons are hard.
That's what she said. Protector of Argoth. So I had the A. I was like, it starts with an A. No, it ends with the A. It's all right. It ends.
It's your preference. Whatever you want to do.
Okay. So, but everything you're saying there, it still works with Crucible of Worlds. Like the lands are in your
in your graveyard, not your hand. So it doesn't allow you to have hand manipulation like Crucible of Worlds does. And so to me, it has maybe more niche. It has a higher ceiling, but maybe a lower floor. Like to whereas like Crucible of Worlds just kind of can go everywhere. To whereas maybe Life from the Loam doesn't go everywhere perfectly, but it can go everywhere, but it's better depending on the situation.
Yes.
So Dredge is really fun to play with.
I haven't done that much.
So
I've done it. I think the last time I've done that really was with a 60 card deck, and I just really haven't dealt with it. It maybe should go in my I don't have Gitrog anymore. So nope, doesn't go in there. I don't know though. I agree with what you're saying that the Crucible is an easier target to get rid of. But it does just feel like it, and I'm not throwing you under the bus, and it's not there's no bus to throw you under, but I thought Crucible, you had said in the past, goes in most of your decks.
It can.
No,
sure.
Don't you change because we are arguing. I swear.
I don't know. I don't know.
Bullshit.
I don't know.
You're such a liar. I swear that you had said, and it was before I started playing with Crucible as much, because I wasn't playing as many fetches, because you kind of turned me on.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. To playing fetches off color, because I was like, oh yeah, I guess I don't need to just have, because I'm playing a green black deck, just green black fetch. I can play green with a blue fetch, and I'm just searching for whatever.
Apparently this is frowned upon though, so I don't know if we should saying because
what
people think it's in the spitting in the face of the spirit of the game or the format.
Who
because
the fuck thinks that?
I see it every once in a while
on Twitter.
I think Mr. Combo
doesn't like that.
Went after me when I did Essex on their deck.
Oh, really?
Back in the summer. It's the thing. He called me a scumbag. And I'm going to be on there in the next month too.
Not anymore. I'm just kidding.
No, I mean, I remember. I've been called worse. I'm not worried about it.
Really? So I didn't think it was a frowned upon thing. I mean,
because it's technically, people look at it and go like, oh, I can't do that. Naturally, they think, oh, I can't play a red-white fetch in a green-white deck. I'm just going to play the white, but you can, because you can.
But I think that's
But it doesn't have the mana symbol, so it doesn't matter.
I think that's an advantage, though, for having a knowledge of the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't realize you could do that either. So you kind of had a little advantage over me with that, in that I didn't know that you could actually mix, and it makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
There shouldn't be a whatever. It's
we're getting into philosophy there at that point.
Yeah,
but I agree. Having more fetches in a deck is good,
especially
in my opinion.
And I'm not gonna defend ourselves with it, but we don't play tutors. We don't play combo stuff. We don't play things that make the game end within a half an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And so having the fetches
games are hour and a half.
The biggest thing, and we can get back into this. Hey, maybe we're thinking about a topic right here. I might write it down. We've talked about it before, but just the biggest thing with Magic is having a consistent mana base.
Yes.
And to be able to find the stuff that makes it so that your deck works the way it needs to work, especially when you're not playing tutors, besides the fetches, that you should be able to use those tools. So I don't know. That's probably it's probably a different topic that we could.
Life from the Loam is better than Crucible of Worlds. I think that's what we.
Thank you for changing the subject.
I think that's what we got back to. I think that's what we figured out. I appreciate all the help that you got there.
The point
was, Life from the Loam can trigger spell mastery, Strixhaven, drawing cards or putting counters on stuff.
Who plays Strixhaven? No,
what do you mean?
I'm kidding.
Strixhaven was bonkers cool and good. Very good.
If it proves your point. But the big thing here is you play, let's look at your decks, and what percentage do you think that you play Crucible of Worlds? Being honest.
This isn't about me. That's this is about what you out there listening would do.
Touche. All right. You guys can vote on Twitter. We will have the vote in there. You can vote on YouTube. Just check out the community tab. And if you're part of the Discord, you can vote on there between a kill him little symbol and normally bread. And only the old school people know why we have Brett as one of our icons, but as one that
I've
we
forgotten
use.
at this point too. So,
It's what you did. That's how you responded.
I know why or when I did it, how I did it. I just
Don't know
I love
why.
it. Brett emoji is amazing.
Yeah, it is the best. All right. That should do it for this week. We will catch you guys next week.
Thanks for listening.
See ya.
Bye.
Saga.
I love boobs. I'm talking tatas. I love boobs. I'm bonkers for honkers.
You know what beer
I
left?
love boobs. Thanks for the
I've been out for a
memories.
segment.
I love boobs.